Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Big roster drama going down yesterday as ever, with two big teams seemingly locking in the final pieces of their roster. It seems Fnatic have decided who their Durka replacement is going to be, but also, what about 100T Zander? Apparently that is now basically a done deal, and that means almost for certain that Bang is going somewhere. We're pretty sure it's going to be Sentinels. Very much intrigued your thoughts in the comment section below as ever. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, and as you guys can tell by the bottom right hand corner of this video, today's content is supported by BenQ ZOWIE. They're doing some awesome things right now in the Valorant world. If you are a fan of Valorant, you will want to be excited about this type of stuff. This weekend they have the VIP only showcase event going on at the Sentinels headquarters. This is going to be really interesting to see how this goes with all of their brand new product unveiling of all of their new line, the 360Hz refresh rate monitors, and more than that. All of it, of course, if you guys forget anything I'm about to say in the next couple of minutes, is in the bottom right hand corner of your screen for you guys to check out. And of course, all the mouse shapes I have as well for various different players. The way you hold the mouse, of course, will depend what type of mouse that you would like to be using. So that's going on this weekend. There's all sorts of stuff happening with their high precision mice, a demo as well of the enhanced wireless receiver they have, and also their new DIAC 2 technology, dynamic accuracy, which is effectively the best in class motion blur reduction technology to increased motion clarity. On their new monitors, you will see stuff like this. So let's say the jet is dashing fast across the screen. The standards industry motion blur reduction tech, you'll still see this kind of like frame interpolation where the image of the character on your screen isn't especially clear, especially when there's other things going on as well, recoil involved and other motion blur features that naturally occur in the game, as you can't really stop it unless you have DIAC 2 technology, in which case you can, and the image on the right hand side is far more accurate, as you guys can tell. So that is a standard feature in all the new monitors they're going to unveil over the next couple of days. If you guys are interested in the new peripherals, as I think you well should be, have a look at the links in the description box below, or of course, if you didn't listen to what I just had to say and you completely zoned out, then the bottom right hand corner has all the QR codes and everything you need to know over the upcoming minutes. So thanks to BenQ ZOWIE, and let's get right on with it. Speaking of Sentinels, Taric is getting involved. Ludwig Taric 3 is happening in LA, October the 12th through to the 13th. They need a couple more players. So he was talking to, tier 1 European pros, you want to come through. Leo Faria was even like, hey, put me in, coach, I'm Silver 2. Maybe the watch party could come along. And I think there was, here it is, Inspire, of course, in the replies, formerly known as Baby J, was like, hey, come on, like, give me a DM, like, I want to come through. Baby J would have got a DM, he says. So yeah, wonder what will happen with Inspire next year. But let's talk about some roster stuff. So Leviathan, 75% they say. What does this mean? Of course, there are 5 players on a Valorant team. So, the team can't exactly be 75% complete, as it were, but it's possible that the deal is 75% done. What do you guys think about this? Isolated Beans mentions it too in the replies. Like, does this mean that Demon 1 is locked in and signed on the roster? It seems to be pretty close to happening. We talked yesterday that Aspas to Bleed is apparently like gonna be a thing, which is pretty wild to me, but that means that Demon 1 to Lev seems like the likely possibility, especially given that Fnatic have seemingly decided who their Durka replacement is going to be, and therefore Durka is available to join NRG, is the theory, or potentially Vitality as well. Purist is back in business, by the way, ever since the drama with Rocket Bullets happened and he's kind of stepped away to some extent from the scene. Maybe you can come back at some point, wishing him the best anyway. But Purist is back in business and doing some roster leaks for us. So it seems like Na'Vi, after a difficult season, will be retaining Xiao and Angel. So Angel will stay on as the IGL of the team, like such an absolute veteran of the esports world, and he's still going to stay around for at least another year. So you got to respect it. And it's not like he was, needed to retire or anything. I think Angel can still be a quality player, but that's what Na'Vi are going to do. Xiao, Angel plus 3, it seems. But this was the other leak yesterday from Alejandro, that Kajak is apparently locked in. Player, of course, who won the Ascension tournament with Apex just a couple of weeks ago, but of course Polish duelist has been considered to be a real top talent from that region. Fnatic were linked to him, then it was like, well, it's not exactly a done deal, take your time, whatever, but apparently a verbal agreement has been reached, and maybe the contract hasn't quite been signed, but they've agreed to do it effectively. So this will be your Durka replacement on the roster. Leo is coming back, that is the plan. Hero, of course, is gone, and it will be Leo, Chronicle, Kajak coming in, and then Boaster and Alpha. That will be your team of 5 over there. So, look, they're making a questionable change. Obviously, Durka gone is always going to be a question, but, you know, they had to do something. Fnatic didn't achieve the success they wanted this last season. After doing so well in 2023, they wanted to take it to the next level in 2024, and they weren't able to do so. So they had to do something. The decision they made, questionable for sure, but of course it does open the possibility for Durka to go elsewhere. Vitality is apparently an option. NRG is still potentially the main consideration, right? That is the big rumor that after signing Artis a couple of years ago, they're going to now bring Durka into the team, and I like it, to be fair, on paper, if NRG can pull the trigger on that, and it seems like all the pieces are in place potentially for that to actually happen. Zeta Division, by the way, they've reached a verbal agreement with Fennel to acquire their trio. So, you know, these guys, are obviously difficult names to pronounce, to be fair, but so I'm not really going to try. Anyway, they are bringing those guys on to that roster and organization for next year, so wishing those guys the best if of course this comes true, because everything always needs to be taken with a slight pinch of salt. This is also interesting from T1. They had a couple of interesting roster moves last season, certainly, you know, with Rossi over there and everything like that. This year, however, they are going apparently full Korean. Now, what they're going to do with this full Korean roster is interesting. There are a few rumored targets they have that may surprise you if they are confirmed. We'll see what happens. But anyway, that's what T1 say. They're trying to, you know, level up, aren't they? Because there's such a force in that region as an organization, certainly in League of Legends, right? So, you know, they want to level up their Valorant Division 2. They want to make it full Korean, and I get it. So they have a tournament in a couple of weeks' time, and they say they have built a really great roster for Valorant that will be announced in October. So apparently it's locked in, fully Korean team. What they do, I guess we shall find out soon. But let's talk about Zander and what's happening with 100T, because Zander has been linked to a Pro League move for a long time at this point, and it never really happens. To be honest, it was only a couple of years ago we were talking about Zander to 100T, because it seemed to make some sense. At the time they needed like an IGL, and Zander could potentially do that, although now they have that and Zander doesn't need to IGL. He's probably a better player when he doesn't, but he could, it's an option, but it's not something that may well be necessary. But 100T are looking to sign M80 player Zander, and apparently this isn't just like a verbal agreement, this is, the deal is basically finalized. The Zander will be joining 100 Thieves for next year. We thought that he might go to Sen. Of course, after M80 failed to qualify through Ascension, Zander was the #1 player linked to come back to the league in some form or another. And it seems like 100T are getting the job done. But of course, 100T still have a team, you know, Asena's still there, Boostio's still there, EU's still there, you know, Cryo's still there. So what's going on? Where's their other player? Well, it seems that it's going to be Bang, isn't it? And that's the big rumour, that Bang potentially out of that team over to Sentinels as their new controller, effectively replacing Tent in that sense. And it does make things very interesting if this comes true, and it seems almost certain to come true because, well, have a look at the replies here for Zander, 23 years old today, so happy birthday to Zander for yesterday. Asena in the replies, Cryo in the replies, and sure, there's plenty of other people in the replies saying happy birthday, but you know, the two that come to the top of mind, even we've got Mike's here from, well, formerly at least, I think 100 Thieves as well, but yeah, the top two guys in the replies are Asena and Cryo, of course, current 100 Thieves players, so, you know, it might make a fair bit of sense. But yeah, that's an interesting one for Sentinels, isn't it? Certainly in hindsight, because it seems like Sen effectively had their choice on whether they chose Zander, which probably they could have had him if they wanted him, or whether they said, look, 100T, we're going to get Bang, we're going to pay for Bang off you, we're going to pay a buyout to make that happen, whereas Zander was, you know, I think a completely unrestricted free agent from M80. So if it's true that Sentinels are going to Bang instead, then they must really believe he is a key piece of their roster that they want to have. Otherwise, they could have gone down an alternate route. But yeah, 100T in the replies here as ever. And also interesting to note here that Asena will have now played with 20 plus teammates on 100 Thieves, which is kind of wild to think about. But that is what the numbers add up to, right? I mean, have a look at this. Given Asena's kind of career on the team, and yeah, there's been a couple of subs in there. But I mean, look at what what's happened with 100 Thieves over the last few years. And Asuna has been there the whole time. Hiko, Dicey, Steel, Nitro, like what a team that was back in the day. Then of course Ethan was there, Boy stepped in for a bit, Baby J and Eccles. I mean, that was an absolutely cursed timeline, if you guys remember that one. Then there was JC Stani, then Bang came in. Okay, Hovey is another substitute, and then they had that roster with Will, Stella, Derek, and Cryo, and now things have changed around. EU, Nature was there briefly, and now Boostio and potentially Zander. So, I mean, this is gotta be by far, potentially, maybe not by far, but certainly by a margin, the most teammates any player has had on a single organization. And yeah, fair play to Asuna for staying around this long. But that, I guess, is the question with him, right? Because yes, this organization certainly back in the day has had some success, but really since all this drama, they've got better. Like they won a trophy in the Americas, but you know, with Boostio's team this season, but obviously wasn't enough in the grand scheme of things to you know, get the success towards the end of the season that they would have liked to. So you know, changes were necessary, and it seems like, well, maybe not necessary. I mean, they've made a one-man move potentially because Bang got poached by Sentinels. I mean, that's currently the rumor, isn't it? So yeah, but Asuna staying around is like, this year they have to deliver, right? I mean, I kind of said it last year, and I guess they did on some level, but this year they really have to deliver, and Asuna has to deliver himself. It's the same thing we said with Zeppa the other day, a player that's been with an organization for a long time. They haven't had that much success with that player for a long time, and therefore, you know, at some point, you know, the bullet has to be bitten unless Asuna can really level up this year. That'll be my perspective, but then tweet your thoughts in the comments below on what you think of this change. Just one final thing here on Marved. He's back to streaming again, so wishing him the best, but also it's not like he's been linked to rosters. The way that he departed NRG last year was, well, questionable at the very least. So there was drama involved, work ethic related stuff as well. So despite Marv being a top quality player on his day, the stints on NRG, the stints on Sentinels haven't necessarily done that much maybe to, you know, help his cause in getting a spot for next year, and maybe a streaming future is the way that it's going to go for Mar. But very much on Twitter, your thoughts as ever in the comment section below. Massive shout out to BenQ ZOWIE as ever. Check out everything in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.